morning, Ms. Thomas, and we have Mr. Sanchez, Mr. Martin, and Mr. Caius.
Good morning.
Morning. We have Karen Miner. She is doing the minutes for this meeting, but she is connected remotely, so we're going to need to make sure we get names for Karen and announce ourselves when we vote or speak, just so she knows who's speaking. We have Dr. Iqbal. So you have a quorum, that's for sure.
At 9 o'clock, and so I'm going to call the meeting of the Finance and Budget Committee to order. Ask that our clerk, Karen, who is remote, to please call the roll. Karen, can you hear me?
Now I can. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, please call the
Okay.
roll.
Thank you. Alan? Iqbal?
Iqbal present.
Leonard?
Here.
Sanchez?
Sanchez here.
Sturgis? Thomas?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, we have a quorum. First item of business is approval of the minutes of October 28th. Can I have a motion? Mr. Leonard moves. Can I have a second?
Iqbal seconds.
Iqbal seconds. Any changes or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Iqbal?
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard?
Yes.
Sanchez? Sanchez? Thomas?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, the minutes are approved. Public comment, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the committee? Hearing none, we'll have the treasurer's report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The treasurer's unable to be here. The report has been submitted for your review, though.
Okay. Any
Is that
questions
Brady?
on the treasurer's report as submitted? Hearing none, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Chairman? Karen, did you have a question?
I was just wondering who spoke for the treasurer.
Oh, Carolyn Brady.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, next, Finance Director's report, Mr. Onzig.
Good morning.
The very first thing I'd like to share with you this morning is I'd like to introduce and welcome John Bloomstrand, who is our new Director of Purchasing. John is sitting in the back corner of the room today. We're very excited for John to have chosen to come to the county. He has quite an impressive resume. He has served at the Department of Defense as a federal contracting manager, at the State Department as an agency planning coordinator for the Bureau of Administration, Bureau of Legal Affairs, and the Secretary's Office on Counterterrorism. He's worked for the state of Washington's Department of Labor and Industries, and he's also worked for Arthur Anderson as a senior shared services executive manager, and at Pierce Leahy. So he's got some extensive procurement and contract management experience, as well as a variety of other skills and strengths that he brings to the county. So I think he will become an asset to us, not only in the purchasing procurement area, but I think for the finance department in general. So we're very happy that he's here.
Welcome. All right.
So to begin my report, I would just like to start with a comparison of the year-to-date revenues as of October, comparing the general fund revenues one year over another. This is on page 2 of my report, if you'd like to follow along. As you can see, sales tax revenue year-to-date is down almost $1 million. Personal property replacement tax is down $179,000, but local use tax is up $351,000. Investment income, of course, is tracking about $400,000 below where we were last year. County clerk is down $135,000 compared to last year, but the recorder is up $162,000. Circuit clerk is down $1.15 million. The sheriff's area is down almost $700,000. The development area is down $330,000, and that leaves a grand total comparison of almost $3.2 million below where we were at last year at this time. So this is tracking about where we expected. Some of these revenues, even though we're saying that this was collected as of October, like for example, sales tax, that would actually be a couple of months of revenue behind, in the sense that this was collected in October, but this was really representative of August sales. So we won't know the full impact until we get through the month of January, and when we actually see what the revenue comes in for sales tax in the month of January, and that would be the amount for the fiscal year. So we have a ways to go yet, and at this point we're at 3.2 million below where we were at. And we had estimated roughly about 6 million in total, so we do have enough in reserve to cover this at this point. There's quite a few individual expense variances mentioned here. I would say almost all of them are related to COVID. The reimbursements have been approved by the state's attorney's office and the external accounting firm. So we're just working on preparing the journal entries to move all of these expenses out of these departments into the coronavirus relief fund. So the first journal entry is just finished as of last night and will be posted today. But as those journal entries are posted, these variances should begin disappearing. The sheriff's custom year-to-date performance report, this is the bottom of page 4 of my report. If we were to compare his budget, year-to-date budget, versus his year-to-date actual expense, there is an unfavorable variance overall of about $40,000. What this represents is revenues are down about 40% compared to last year, year-to-date, or I'm sorry, compared to budget year-to-date, and that represents $1.3 million of less revenue than what we had budgeted. And on the other side, on the expenditure side, we're almost $1.3 million ahead of what we had budgeted. So that's what yields the unfavorable overall budget variance of $40,000. If we were to look at the health insurance fund, as of November 19th, the year-to-date revenue collection from our contributions from employees and employer are $1.6 million more than has been expensed so far during the fiscal year. Most of that variance is the result of timing differences, because as we get to the end of the year, that's when we'll prepare the accrual of expenses that have been incurred but not yet shown in the books, and we don't post that accrual until the very end. So typically that variance disappears, and we're usually close to budget. So it'll be interesting to see how we end up this year. You may have heard, I believe it was mentioned in previous meetings to the county board, that there is a refund of $1.4 million expected from IPBC. It's due to come to the county roughly December 1st. This amount, although it's a large amount, I just would like to put it into perspective and just remind you that when we began with IPBC and we became self-insured, prior to joining IPBC, when we were self-insured, we needed to put in several $million into the health insurance fund in order to establish a cash balance that could be utilized to pay the claims. And after we were with IPBC, we needed to replenish that balance. I think it was 2 years in a row. So in total, from the general fund, we contributed $6 million into the health insurance fund, which was over and above what we had budgeted as the per payroll contributions by the county. So even though we're getting $1.4 million back, I think we need to consider, as we move forward, reimbursing the general fund for some of the $6 million that it had contributed in order to make the experience with IPBC possible. So I just wanted to make sure that you have that in mind as you move forward and think about that $1.4 million that's coming in. If we look at shared and direct state tax revenue for the general fund, in the chart on page 5, you can see that when you look at these key revenues coming from the states, which is sales tax, local use tax, RTA sales tax, state income tax, and personal property replacement tax, compared to budget, we're about only $600,000 below budget, and compared in total, and in comparison to prior year, we're about $700,000 below, just for these revenue line items. So it's interesting to see that although sales tax is significantly lower, what we've gained in local use tax and in state income tax, that has helped to offset what otherwise would be a significant reduction there. I also thought it would be interesting to compare on a month-by-month basis the sales tax revenue. And if you look at the top of page 6 of my report, you could see over the past several months of this fiscal year, a month-by-month comparison compared to the previous fiscal year. And these figures, or these fiscal months, are the months of actual sales that the sales tax pertains to. So you can see this actually goes through the month of August, even though sales tax collections are going through the month of October. So what we're looking at is the comparison or the impact of COVID-19 on the various months through the year. You can see that it just started to decline in February, March, and April, May. March, April, and May were the lowest months in terms of sales tax collected from sales. Then we started to improve again in June and July, and now it's starting to come down again in the month of August. And I've prepared a graphical chart for you to depict that comparison as well. Court security fee revenue continues to be about 42% below budget, and we, even though, as I explain each month, even though we did adjust the fees, what we're seeing now is the impact of COVID. the county share of the state cannabis tax, we now have a year-to-date collection of $32,000. The month's revenue for the month of October was $3,364. So these are very small amounts that are coming into the state, from the state. The projected contingency balances for fiscal year 2020, we still have $819,000 that is untapped, although we know at the year end we will be making some budget adjustments, for example, in the coroner's office that will tap into that amount, and also whatever amount is needed to cover the adult prisoner room and board expenses for the year will be deducted from that $50,000. And as we move into 2021, most of the contingency is still available there. Capital funds for building management, 37% were expended. 312% are expended for information technology, but that is almost all COVID related. So that again, that variance will disappear once that fund is reimbursed. And we're about 49% expended in terms of the multi-use facility budget. The 2020 audit, the preliminary field work is scheduled to begin in the week of January 18th, and the final audit field work is scheduled to begin the first week of March. And just to let you know, we're currently working on the budget book for the 2021 budget that was adopted by the county board on November 10th, and we'll have that ready to distribute as soon as we possibly can. For purchasing, I'll just give you some of the highlights for them. They began work on bids for the Mill Creek Retention Wall project and also for colored or digital ortho imagery for GIS department. And there are about 8 bids and requests for proposals at various stages in the procurement process. The estimated quote savings for the month of October is $2,129, and the estimated bid savings for the month of October is $199,000. And year to date, total savings would be $2.1 million. And most of that, of course, would have been the savings resulting from the bids regarding the multi-use facility. There were no vehicle auctions in the month of October. And that concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Honzik. Any questions of our finance director? Mr. Lawson?
Chairman Hoshite Surges here.
Yes.
For Joe, are we still looking at $9 million as the goal for the health savings account?
Yes, I would continue to recommend that. I think that that would be a prudent balance to target to achieve, yes.
So on your comments on page 5 with that 1.4 that came back from IPBC, are you suggesting you're not suggesting moving that back to general fund until we hit the 9 million, or are you suggesting that prior to?
That would be my recommendation, would be to keep it in the health insurance fund. I know when you see $1.4 million coming in, that's in a way unexpected. You might think, oh, we can use it for this or for that. And I just wanted to keep in mind that we do owe the general fund, although it wasn't a loan, but it is something to consider repaying the general fund, the $6 million once we meet the target. And I'm sorry if I wasn't as clear as I probably should have been in reminding that we do have that $9 million target to still be striving towards.
Well, appreciate your hard work as always, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Hoshite. And I'd like to just add to the report, thank you very much, Joe, for everybody who puts in. It's countywide, every one of our employees, every one of our management staff, every countywide elected official, all the board members, putting into what produced the most recent Standard & Poor's and Moody's report that you shared with me. And yesterday, I asked Jane if she would send it out to both current and future board members and countywide elected officials. So if you want a boost in your day, just read what they have to say about you. So it is really rock solid. It's almost a giddy report. I mean, good golly. I didn't think rating agencies talked that way. So nice going.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the new business. Ms. Allen?
Could I just follow up on that for a second? Do you have any idea why they gave us such a bad time about our pensions? It sounded like they were criticizing us for not having our pensions well-funded, and our pensions are very well-funded. I just don't know enough about how they think about that to make sense of it.
It's a good question. I'll have to look at that again.
Okay.
All right, on to new business. We have a number of resolutions this morning. We'll go through in order. The first one is a resolution authorizing fiscal year 21 budget adjustment related to the September 14th, 20 allocation. Mr. Leonard moves. Ms. Allen seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Thomas. Thomas. Thank you.
All right, motion carries. Next is item B is a resolution authorizing allocations of savings from the CARES Act payroll reimbursement to be used for the emergency purchase of a health department generator. Mr. Leonard moves. Ms. Allen seconds. Mr. Onzig?
Yes, I would just like to point out that this is the resolution that we're asking to amend the amount. It was originally approved at the CAC meeting for 200,000, but we have since received the official estimates for the cost, and the cost will only be $108,000 instead of 200, and so the resolution has been revised accordingly.
I believe that would be item C that you're referring to. We're on item B right now. We're authorizing these allocations of the savings, and then we're going to do the budget adjustments in C. Is that correct, or?
No, perhaps there's a misunderstanding. It is the,
Is it item B or C that we're adjusting?
let me just make sure. It is item B, so I
Okay.
think there may have been a miscommunication regarding,
All right, then it's item B, and that's, the dollar amount is less than we anticipated, correct?
that's correct.
Yay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Thomas. Thank you.
All right, motion carries. Item C then is a resolution authorizing allocations of CARES Act funds and related fiscal year 20 and 21 budget adjustments for emergency purchase of air purification equipment. All right, this is the second component of that, right? Mr. Leonard moves, Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Thomas.
Yes. Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
All right, resolution C is approved. Resolution D is authorizing a budget adjustment for the emergency purchase of a vehicle for the King County Sheriff's Drug Task Force. Mr. Leonard moves. Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution D is approved. Resolution E is authorizing a budget adjustment for 2021 and an addendum to our license agreement with Hart Intercivic Voting System. Ms. Allen moves, Mr. Leonard seconds. Discussion on this item? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution E is approved. Resolution F is approving payment of commercial insurance and multiple types of insurance with Presidio Insurance and making a budget adjustment in connection therewith. Mr. Leonard moves. Ms.
Sturgis,
Allen
second.
seconds. Surges seconds. Discussion on this item? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution F is approved. Resolution G is a resolution authorizing additional funding for the multi-use facility project and a budget adjustment in 2021 related thereto. Ms. Allen moves. Mr. Leonard seconds. Any discussion here? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution G is approved. Resolution H is a resolution that was handed out this morning at our meeting, authorizing a reduction in fees for liquor licenses for 2021 and the corresponding budget adjustment related thereto. Mr. Leonard moves. Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
All right, the next several resolutions usually come up this time of year. I is a resolution authorizing a contract with Flexible Benefit Service Corporation to administer our flexible spending accounts. Is there a motion? Mr. Leonard moves. Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Thank you. Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution I is approved. J is a resolution approving the 2021 retiree monthly health and dental contribution.
Sturgis, move.
Mr. Leonard seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution J is approved. Resolution K is a authorization for DevNet Taxpayer Portal for Property Information System. Mr. Leonard moves. Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution K is approved. L is a resolution authorizing the purchase of naloxone with funding from the Illinois Department of Human Services. Ms. Allen moves. Mr. Leonard seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution L is approved. Resolution M authorizes an intergovernmental agreement between the county and the Village of West Dundee regarding electronics recycling. Mr. Leonard moves. Is there a second? Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution N is approved. Resolution N adopts the Kane County Solid Waste Management Recovery Plan 2020 update. Mr. Leonard moves, Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion here. Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution N is approved. O is a resolution authorizing annual renewal of our City View license and maintenance agreement with Harris Corporation. Moved by Mrs. Allen, second by Mr. Leonard. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution O is approved. P is a resolution authorizing a contract extension for electrical aggregate consultant. Mr. Leonard moves, Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution P is approved. Q is a resolution amending Resolution 20-278 to include supplemental expenditures for food distribution expenses. Mr. Leonard moves. Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution Q is approved. Next, I'll take a motion to abate or take a motion with respect to items R, S, and T together. These are our annual ordinances abating the tax levy with respect to bond payments that came from alternative sources. R is general obligation alternative bonds. S is general obligation refunding bonds, motor fuel tax, and T is the debt service general obligation bonds for riverboat. Mr. Leonard moves. Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinances in R, S, and T are approved. Resolution U, I believe, is premature. This was tabled at Administration Committee. So at the request of the chairman of that committee, Ms. Allen, I'll entertain a motion to send this back to Administration Committee for consideration. Ms. Allen moves. Mr. Leonard
Iqbal.
seconds. Or Iqbal seconds. Dr. Iqbal seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Resolution U is sent back to Administration Committee. V is a resolution authorizing participation in the state's attorney's appellate prosecutor program. Mr. Leonard moves. Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
yes,
Thank you.
Resolution V is approved. W is a resolution authorizing view-only access necessary for the 3+1 contract unanimously approved by the county board. Mr. Leonard moves, Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion,
I do, John.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'd like to give a little background, and I very much appreciate the board's unanimous support twice for moving this initiative along. I also appreciate Joe Onsick's and his staff's work on taking care of this. The background is that there needs to be a healthy, constructive tension between bankers and their clients. When people say that they have a really, really good relationship with their bankers, that usually means they're paying more than they should be or not getting the interest that they should be. So we have to be careful that we have a really constructive, professional, good relationship with our banks, but not, we always need to check the data behind that relationship. What the 3+1 company does is it provides data and solutions. They don't invest anyone's money, and that's a very important provision. All the information that we give these folks who have 35 years of banking background, if you could put up the slide, Roger, that'd be great. They have 35 years of banking experience, and then they've applied artificial intelligence, best practices, new technology to it. We're just asking, the board is just asking the Treasurer's Department for information, and they provide information, the company provides information, not any direction to the, so when the issue, if the issue were to come up of internal control, absolutely, that's in the Treasurer's area. This is just giving information. They ask for data, they process that data, come back with recommendations. Natural question is, well, why would we want to explore something like this? The budget assumption for this year going forward in 2021, we'd like to double check the assumption that's 0.4%. If it were really internalized in the minds of the people who we serve, that on $250 million worth of reserves, 250 millions of dollars, that we are getting less than 1/2 of 1 penny on the dollar on 250 million, I think that there'd be people would say, well, don't you think we should get a second opinion? And that's what this is. This is basically a second opinion on the Treasury function. And you say, well, how much are you playing for? You're playing for $1 million. All the procedures have been followed. Again, Joe Onsick, thank you very much for running down all the questions, negotiating the contract, making sure the RFP was handled properly, and it's gone through board support twice. What they do, best practices, new technology, artificial intelligence on top of their experience. It's a National Association of County Organization endorsed, all the references provided. It's interesting that this is the beginning of the beginning, they say, artificial intelligence, the deep learning process of what's actually going on inside the best practices, what goes on inside their minds and their judgment, and that we bring that to Kane County. The nice thing about this is we got nothing to lose, because even as they have their fees structured, the fee is essentially contingent on their producing recommendations that are benefit. Now we have to implement those suggestions, but now we have received information from the treasurer, and so we all deeply appreciate that. The information though was given in like sheets of paper form in hundreds and hundreds of pages, and all we need is view-only access, not any kind of they can't touch our data, all that. They can just view only and then do their study and then give us recommendation. But the information needs to be in an electronic format. And so we just need permission from the treasurer to put that in place. An example of, you say, well, what's it going to look like when it gets here? I asked for a sample when we all first heard about this, asked for a sample of our bank statement, or actually it was the banking analysis statement. And several of us have been told, we don't pay any bank service charges. We don't pay bank service fees. When you look at the bank statement, there's a net interest number, and that actually wasn't what I had asked for originally. It wasn't the bank statement. It's the banking analysis statement. That's the guts of what is summarized in the bank statement. Well, when you take a look at the banking statement for that net interest, you'll find a gross interest, you'll find banking fees and charges, and then you'll find net interest, and that net interest goes over. So you have to drill a little deeper, and you kind of have to have a healthy skepticism and just a double checking of the relationship with the bank, that you have to go beneath the surface. And if people say, well, it's too hard to get that or it's too expensive, no, they've got our money. They can give us a report, total transparency. And so when you take a look at the deeper, you'll find the fees that are negotiable. So this is this is all yours going forward. It's a little bit of a going away present from me to you of my contribution. Victory has 1,000 fathers. Defeat is an orphan. This is victory all the way for $1 million. I've already had several conversations with, for instance, our Madam Chair-elect Parag. I've had several conversations with different board members who are enthusiastically in support of it. I know that you'll pick up this ball. I anticipate if it's approved here, we'll present it at executive committee. If it's approved there, it'll be on the board. And one of the first things that you implement under the new board and under the new chairman will be $1 million potential $1 million improvement in performance in the treasury area. So, so that's the background. Thank you for your indulgence.
Sure. All right, with that explanation, is there any discussion on this? The vote was to move this on to exec for approval, and then to the full board, ultimately past exec. If there's no discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas abstain.
Thank you.
Resolution W is approved. Resolution X is ratifying the county board's authorization of the wage increase for the department head in the finance area. Mr. Leonard moves. Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion. Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Happy to approve this one. Allen, aye.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Sturgis,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution X is approved. Y is a resolution reauthorizing a moratorium on personnel hiring and replacement. Mr. Leonard moves. Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion. Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez, Sturgis,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas,
Yes.
Sanchez. Thank you.
Sanchez, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution Y is approved. Z is a resolution authorizing rehiring of a full-time office assistant position. Moved by Ms. Allen, second by Mr. Leonard. Discussion.
In light of what we just, the previous resolution, this is just kind of funny to me.
Who's that, Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
All right, well, we have the purpose of Y is to justify the replacement through a check and balance process. Normally, if we're hiring replacement personnel and there's funds in the budget, we've routinely approved those. I think when this was originally adopted, the moratorium, it was to monitor new hires and also to discuss maybe staff reductions in area where the demand was not there. This resolution presents a position that is being replaced, I believe, and is within their budget, as I understand it. So it's not uncommon that, you know, every other month or so, we do have to consider and personnel replacements or additions, and we have the discussion, and then we move these on to the full board for consideration.
Right. I mean, I just think given, I mean, there's always kind of an exception for the health department, given their primary source of funding. But the previous resolution does say hiring and replacement. So it's just, I'm not really objecting. I'm just
All right.
thinking out loud. I'm sorry.
Maybe we should have voted on this one first.
Right.
Sorry, I put it in the wrong position on the agenda. No. All right, any further discussion? Your point is well taken. I mean, this points out the vetting process we go through.
Yeah.
Right. Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Thomas, yes.
Thank you.
Resolution Z is approved. We ran out of letters, so we're now to double A. That's just our monthly payment of our bills and claims. Mr. Leonard moves, Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Resolution AA is approved. We do not have any items under old business, but we do have a auditor's report. So I would ask that Mr. Hunt present his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The auditor's report is on file, part of your agenda, and it's fairly short this month. The internal audit projects that we currently have in progress, none of those were completed in time to be included in this report, and those will be administered then by my successor. So we have, at this point though, there are several transition audits that are going to be required to be undertaken by Penny and her new position. We have 6 of them. The Executive Director of Building Management, Executive Director of Kane County Health Department, Kane County Board Chairman, Kane County Auditor, Kane County Circuit Clerk, and Kane County State's Attorney. Of those, we knew 2 of those were certainties going into the preparation of the FY21 budget. And of those 6, they range from very complex audits like the Health Director, Circuit Clerk, and State's Attorney, basically because of the number of funds that they administer and the number of employees that are under their control. So those will be fairly detailed and complex audits. The others are more simple because transition audit essentially establishes a position statement for what the outgoing elected official leaves behind and what the successor is going to inherit. The AP claims report, we've already just passed that one. And I'm just going to take a couple of moments since we're still well within. So I'd just like to say that over the course of the past 8 years, it's been my privilege to work with dozens of people throughout Kane County, ranging from the elected officials to department directors and their staffs. And I know I'll miss some of the names, but I wanted to say thank you to some of the professionals that I've worked with most closely as Kane County Auditor. The Kane County Board Chairman, Chris Lawson, the Finance and Budget Committee Chairman, John Hoshite, and every one of the county board members who have served on this committee. Kane County Treasurer, David Rickert, and his staff, Finance Director Joe Honzik and his staff, and I wish Erica was here because we've certainly enjoyed a special relationship. Supervisor of Assessments Mark Armstrong, IT Director Roger Fonstock and his entire staff. And I'd like to say a special thanks to my own staff who have been really instrumental in everything we've accomplished in the King County Auditor's Office. Currently, Mariola, Kristen, and Debbie are just a super team. And before them, I had Andrea Rich and John Harahan, who were awesome contributors as well. So I'd like to say it's been a pleasure to work with every single person throughout the county, but that would not be true. There's that one person, that one single exception, and since you know who you are, I don't need to call you out by name. On a serious note, I met with Penny Wegman this morning. I wish her nothing but success as the next county auditor, and I've offered to assist in any way I can to make her transition a smooth one. So on behalf of the Kane County Auditor, best wishes for a healthy, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
We have a presentation that we'd like to make. Chairman.
Thank you, John. And Deb Allen, thank you very much. Would you come up because you put together the work, and then John, would you rise? And and Joe, would you come over, and we'll stay 6 feet apart and do all that social distancing. And Penny, if you'd like, you'd be welcome to join also, because this really is when honest competence is a wonderful virtue. And of all the people who have it in just bushel baskets full, it'd be Terry Hunt. Terry is scrupulously honest and professional, and so it's such a big part of what you've done, keeping us transparent, getting us transparent, and keeping us transparent where anybody can look over John Hoscheid's shoulder, those broad shoulders, can look over his shoulders and take a look at anything that he and all of us are doing as a team, and they can make suggestions of how we can do it better. And that doesn't happen automatically. That has been done through Terry and his team's initiative. I've always given credit to the fact that I grew up surrounded by bookkeepers and accountants, so I can't tell a joke to save my life. But I have been around accountants and bookkeepers my whole life. And one of the very best, I mean, we have one in Joe Onsick, have another CPA, JD and John Hoscheit, and Terry Hunt's ability among accountants. You know, some people use numbers where it's like, getcha, you know, and it's not a pleasant kind of aspect. Other people use them to build. Other people use them for different purposes, but some people are good business folks, and they begin in accounting and then go to run organizations. A legal background's especially good these days for that. The accounting background is especially good. That's the way that Terry comes to numbers. And so Terry, Deb Allen went through the process. I think it's a lovely plaque that we'd like to present to you. And we'll do all the social distancing, but I would like to hand this to you and congratulate you for all of your good work. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you very much.
Just wonderful. And I would, okay, you betcha. I'd give you a big hug. Oh, can we do that together? I just saw somebody's going to take a, I know that this is going to be really politically incorrect to do this, but how about if we all get into this picture? Deb and Joe, thank you.
Thank you,
great.
Paul.
That's right. And Penny, if you'd like to, or not. Okay, that's a once in a lifetime.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Terry.
All right, if all the reports are concluded, I'll entertain a motion place on file the report from our treasurer, finance director, and auditor. Mr. Leonard moves, Ms. Allen seconds. Discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Leonard moves, Ms. Allen seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.